Hello and welcome to Marriage and the Family. I'm David Hester and I will be your lecturer this 8 weeks. I'm glad that you've decided to take the class. And this video is to introduce you to the course, and we're going to be going over the syllabus. If you haven't already downloaded the syllabus, I would very much encourage you to do that. And if you have access to your iPad, or obviously you've got your iPad or mobile device or desktop in front of you, then I would encourage you to go into the Blackboard class site and open up the syllabus. At any rate, we're going to be going over that and going over all of the requirements in this course. So follow along with me, and I'll try to explain everything as best I possibly can. So if you have your syllabus open, as I do on the desktop, you'll see that this course is BI 3311, Marriage and Family Relations. The description is a study of mate selection, how to have a successful marriage, and principles of parenting taught from the biblical perspective. Major sociological trends and problems that impact marriage and family relations in Western society will also be observed. On page 2, we find the purpose of the course. The purpose of the course is to acquaint the student with what the Bible teaches regarding the origin and purpose of marriage, and to study current research that will help the student prepare for a successful marriage. On the structure of the course, point 2, since this is an 8-week online course, it is structured differently from a regular face-to-face full semester class. All of the assignments will be posted on the Blackboard class site, and all communication by the lecturer will be via email. This is a very important point to stress. All of the communication that I do from me to you will be through Faulkner email. We're going to be stressing that throughout this video and emphasizing it even more so in just a few minutes. But the communication that I will be doing with you will be through email. It is very, very important that if you do not already have your Faulkner email set up, that you do so. Now, many of you, this won't apply. You already have your Faulkner email. You're using it. That's no problem at all. But every semester or every 8 weeks, I have 1 or 2 students that will communicate with me or try to via another email account. And that means they haven't received any of the emails that I have sent, because everything that I send is through Faulkner email. Make sure you've got that, and because that's how I will be communicating with you. So, continuing, the student is expected to keep up with his or her assignments and to turn them in on time. It is critical that you keep up with your assignments. By now, you are possibly a sophomore, junior, maybe senior. I don't think there's any freshmen that are taking this course since it's a junior level course. Whatever level you are, whether you are sophomore, junior, or senior, you've been around the block a little while as far as Faulkner is concerned. You're used to this rodeo. You know what we're dealing with. So you know that you have a responsibility. And I fully expect that every one of you in this class will take that responsibility seriously, and that you will turn in your assignments and turn them in on time. We'll have more to say about that in a few minutes. Discussion board questions are designed to facilitate discussion between the students. We will have more to say about the discussion board shortly. The 3 to 5 page essay. Yes, there is an essay. The 3 to 5 page essay is not a research paper. Let me stress again, it is not a research paper. It is to get the student, you, to think through the question of what it takes to be a good spouse, and also to help the student express his or her thoughts in a grammatically correct, clear manner. I have more to say about the essay in a little bit, but know this, the essay is designed to help you in your understanding of marriage. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what you think concerning the subject. And I also want to help you in your writing. Again, if you've been at Faulkner any length of time, if you've been in college any length of time, you've already discovered, I've got to write. I have to write. So any help that can be given you, I'm sure you would appreciate. And what I try to do with this essay, in part, is to help you in your writing, because it will not only help you when you're here at Faulkner, it will help you when you go out into the real world, whatever that is. It'll help you when you go out into your place of employment. Some of you may already be employed, and you know what I'm talking about. You've got to express yourself clearly and grammatically correct, and I hope that will help. We'll have more to say about that in a minute. Course objectives, point 3 in the syllabus on page 1. Actually, is it page 1? Yes, page 1. To demonstrate an appreciation of the Bible as God's blueprint for marriage. This may come as a surprise to some of you, but marriage is God's first institution that He set up on earth. And the Bible is the blueprint for it. Now you may think, well, of course you're a Bible teacher, and it's Faulkner, it's a Christian university, so it goes without saying, doesn't it? You would be surprised at the number of students that I have seen over the years in marriage and a family class or related courses who will demonstrate little or no appreciation or understanding of the Bible as the foundation for marriage. God's Word is the foundation of everything we do, including marriage. And I hope to be able to emphasize that throughout this 8 weeks. This will be evaluated by the online questions covering selected biblical passages. I'll be saying more about the online questions here in just a few minutes. To identify the meaning and purpose of marriage according to the Bible. This will be evaluated by the online questions covering selected biblical passages. Point C, to articulate attitudes and attributes that will make one more mature and marriageable. This will be evaluated by the 3 to 5 page essay and the discussion board questions. Again, we'll say more about those in just a moment. But you've got to be mature to enter into marriage. You've got to be marriageable to enter into marriage. Marriage is a serious thing. It's not something to be flippantly entered into. We live in a day and time where marriage is taken lightly by so many. The vows which are spoken at a wedding ceremony are just said and forgotten, it seems. Well, it's one of my objectives to make you realize how serious those vows are and how serious the institution of marriage is. Marriage is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's a fun thing to be involved in and has so many blessings and benefits with it. But it's a serious, serious matter indeed, because whoever you marry will determine your happiness or lack of it. And the decision you make as to who you marry is the second most important decision that you will ever make in your life. The first, of course, is becoming a Christian, according to the New Testament standard of becoming a child of God through belief, repentance, confession, and baptism for the remission of sins, and the Lord adds you to His church. That's the most important decision. The second most important decision is who you marry. And so that's what I hope to be able to get across, one of the points to get across to you. Okay, point D. To consider the importance of marriage, of building a marriage relationship on love and integrity. This will be evaluated by the online questions covering the textbook by Nick and Nancy Stennett. If you do not have this textbook yet, you must have it. You must get it for this class. This is the required textbook besides the Bible. We'll be saying more about it, of course, in a moment. If you do not have it, you need to get it. And I have the information included in the syllabus as far as the ISBN number for you to be able to order it. It is the 9th edition of Intimate Relationships, Marriages, and Families by Nick and Nancy Stennett and DeGeneva and Rice. It is published by Oxford University Press. It's not a cheap book, but it's worth every penny that you pay. I guarantee you that you will not want to sell this book after this class is over. I'll be shocked if you want to resell this book, because this book is valuable. It's valuable in what the authors state concerning marriage and the sociological trends and the psychological trends and the spiritual trends that are affecting the institution. You need it. You need to study it, not just for this class, but have it as a resource for your further study and for your marriage itself. You need this book. And so you need to get it. We'll say more about that here in a moment. Then, point E, to integrate strategies that lead to strong marriages, and this will be examined by the final exam. Final exam we'll talk more about in just a moment. Now, turning to page, let's see, which page are we on? Are we on page 2? No, wait a minute. 1, 2. That was page 2 we were on. Sorry. Now we're on page 3. I was looking at the wrong place on my document. Page 3. Point 3. Course premise, philosophy, and methodology. Marriage is God's idea. Shock, right? Of course it's not. He has provided us His plan for successful marriage in His Word. That's the Bible. We've already emphasized that. Our primary emphasis in this course will be to better understand God's plan and how that plan translates into daily life. Deciding whom to marry and when to marry have eternal ramifications. So all of us in this class should give proper priority to our study together. Have you thought of it in those terms? Deciding whom to marry and when to marry have eternal ramifications. Have you thought of the fact that who you marry and when you marry can determine in part where you will spend eternity? Now, when you think of it in that light, now it gets down to the nitty-gritty, doesn't it? Now it becomes serious. Because those of you who are already married know the truth of that statement. I guarantee you know the truth of that statement. Deciding whom to marry is very important. Deciding when to marry is very important. And it has eternal ramifications. So all of us in this class, as the syllabus states, should give proper priority to our study together. Comments, questions, helpful ideas from you will be encouraged by me. We'll say more about that in a moment. Netiquette expectations, certain guidelines that must be followed in any email or discussion board communication. I've included the address to Faulkner Standard Netiquette Policy. Also on the Blackboard site, all of the policies are listed in one of the menu options on the left-hand side. The course policies, point 5 of the syllabus, the standard eCampus policies concerning integrity, online attendance, online grievance, online incomplete, online technical requirements. All of that are also listed on the Blackboard class site. Okay, content outline. Basic outline of the class. Preparation for marriage, God's plan, selection of a mate, what the Bible says about sex, sexual relations in marriage. That's a very important point to stress about sex in marriage. It's very important. And then fourth, the best available research and concepts on marriage success. Your textbook by Stennett, the Stennetts, Nick and Nancy Stennett, covers all of those points. And of course, what our material that we provide on the class site will also cover that. So, resources, required textbooks. The Bible, obviously. Stennett, DeGeneva, Rice, Intimate Relationships, Marriages, and Families, published by Oxford Press, 9th edition, ISBN number listed on the syllabus. You can order it online. Now, let me tell you this. If you don't get your textbook, if you don't already have your textbook, don't worry. If you can't get your textbook for the first week or two of the class, don't worry about it. Now, if it rocks on down to the 6th or 7th week of the course and you still don't have your textbook, you may have a problem. In fact, you will have a problem. You need to get your textbook as soon as possible to be able to answer the questions that we'll be talking more about here in a moment. Then selected material from me on the Blackboard website. Then ask a librarian reference assistance under point B, page 4, 24/7 help is available for you constantly. Now, course requirements and evaluation, point 8, page 4 of the syllabus. Formal assessment. This is what you're wondering, of course. What's required, when it's required. This is what we're going to talk about. First, online questions. Included will be alt questions covering the textbook and selected biblical passages that pertain to marriage. This will not be a test. It is open book to ensure that you are reading the material. In order to receive an A, you must answer correctly 90% of the questions on a 10-point scale, in other words. Now, if you go to the class site on Blackboard, where you find those questions, on the left-hand side of the Blackboard class site, there's a menu, and you'll find course content. Click into course content. When you click into course content, the first thing that you see is Chapter 1 reading questions, Chapter 2 reading questions, Chapter 3 reading questions, and on down through Chapter 17 reading questions. Those reading questions cover the textbook. It covers the textbook. So when you download those questions, they cover each chapter of the textbook. You will answer those questions and submit it in the proper place on the Blackboard site. We'll say more about that in a moment. Biblical text questions are underneath the reading questions for the textbook. So when I talk about the online questions, we're talking about each chapter's reading questions and the biblical text questions. Those are the online questions. So that's what we're talking about here. Then number 2, the essay. This will be a 3 to 5 page double-spaced essay. Notice, double-spaced. Notice, 3 to 5 pages. That means it is at least 3 full pages. Not 2 pages, not 1 page, not 2.5 pages, not 2 3/4 of a page. 3 full pages are the minimum requirement length. Double-spaced, not single-spaced. Not 1.5 spaces. Double-spaced. Please follow those instructions carefully. What does it take to be a good spouse is the topic. It is not a research paper. It's your thoughts, your opinion. You can cover it from the standpoint of the husband. You can cover it from the standpoint of the wife. You can interview your parents or grandparents for their thoughts. It's up to you how you approach this essay. You must meet the requirements of the rubric to receive an A. Now, the rubric is located under course content. When you go underneath the biblical text questions, you'll find the essay rubric. It is on down. You scroll down, and it's below the biblical text questions. The essay rubric, once you open it up, contains, if I can open it up, here we go, the levels of achievement. Novice, competent, proficient. Formatting weight, 33%. Organization weight, 34%. Grammar weight, 33%. For the formatting weight, it must be double-spaced, 12 font, Times New Roman, 3 to 5 pages in length. On the organization, you must address the question, give both sides of the question if that's applicable, and then give your opinion concerning the question. And then under grammar, I'm a very big stickler on grammar. No persistent spelling errors or grammar errors. No run-on sentences or sentence fragments. Those are major deductions. Sentences are clearly understandable. Overall thoughts fit together and make sense. This assignment, that is the essay, in part, is to help you in your writing. You need to write clearly, coherently, and without any major errors. That's what I hope this essay will help you to do. Discussion board. There will be 4 questions posted during the 8 weeks. Now, there's going to be an initial discussion board question asking you to tell a little bit about yourself. That's not graded, but it is required. Students are required to answer the questions and engage in discussion. In order to make an A on the assignment, you must respond in a 6 to 8 sentence paragraph to each question. 1 sentence won't do, 6 to 8 sentences minimum. Reply it to at least 3 fellow students in each thread. Now notice, please, if you go to the Blackboard class site and you go to Read Me First, one of the first things that you see is discussion board. Important. The discussion board questions each week record your participation in this class. It is vital that you answer each question as it is posted each week. Your attendance in this class is based on it. Make sure you answer all discussion board questions because that's how I record your attendance for this online class. Each discussion board question is due on the Friday of the week in which it is posted. Friday at 5 o'clock each week. Now, if you wait until after the due date, points will be deducted. If you wait until the Monday or Tuesday after that week, then 5 points come off automatically. That's 10%. The longer you wait to post your response, the more points are deducted. Make sure you get the discussion board questions in on time and answer them the way I would like for you to in what I've just described, 6 to 8 sentences. Very important that you get that. You don't want to be running into the registrar with an email saying you're a no-show or you're not participating. Make sure that you answer those discussion board questions. Final exam. This exam will cover specified questions from PowerPoint material, again located under course content. Now scroll on down, you'll find under course content, you'll find down toward the bottom of that page, does your home abide in the doctrine of Christ, the Bible in the home, and what have they seen in thine house? Those are 3 PowerPoint presentations. The final exam is based off of those. It will include true, false, multiple choice items. It is open notes. It will be sent to you previously, and I will say more of that in just a moment. Determination of the final grade based on the final exam, online questions, essay, and discussion board questions. When grades are average, I round to the nearest whole number. I will not give a point. The following scale used to determine final grades: 90 to 100, 80 to 89, 90 to 100A, 80 to 89B, and so on. 10-point scale, in other words. Unit level weekly objectives, and we go week 1 through 8, telling what everything is going to be, describing what kind of discussion board questions are going to be posted for each week. And those, of course, will cover the first 5 weeks. After week 5, there will not be a discussion board question posted because weeks 6, 7, and 8 will be when you turn in your assignments. And that will be what determines your attendance, in essence. Course calendar. Since this is an online 8-week course, the deadlines are different from the traditional semester course. It is even more imperative that you take responsibility to turn in all work on time. There are no weekly due dates except for the discussion board questions. Please make a note of that. No weekly due dates except for the discussion board questions. All other work is due by the date specified. You may turn in your work, though, at any point before the due dates. If you get through with all of your textbook questions and turn them in early, that's great. That helps you. Whatever helps you the best. But those textbook questions are not due every week. Please make a note of that. The textbook questions, the 17 chapters, they're not due each week. They are due when the due date comes. But you can turn them in early if you wish. All work is to be submitted through Blackboard under the assignment section. Do not send them to me by email. I will not accept it. Turn it in through assignments in Blackboard, please. If you have issues, contact me. I'll be happy to help. So the dates, the due dates. November 30th, the essay is due by 5 o'clock. December 7th, all online questions are due by 5 o'clock. December 14th, the final exam is due by 5 o'clock. Now, please make a note of this. The final exam cannot be found on the Blackboard class site. I don't want to have emails from you saying, I haven't seen the final exam. I can't find the final exam. You can't because it's not there. The final exam is not on the Blackboard class site. Notice, please, on the syllabus, page 5, top of the page, under parentheses, in the parentheses, it says, the final exam will be emailed to you a week ahead of the due date. It will be open notes. This is actually page 6 of the syllabus. The final exam will be emailed to you a week ahead of the due date, which means December 7th, you will be receiving the final exam by email. You will have a week to then fill out the questions, answer them, that is, and send them or submit them through Blackboard. It will be open notes. I'm a nice guy. I want to help you in as many ways as I possibly can. I know you've got a lot of courses, a lot of assignments, a lot of work. So I try to not make it easy on you, but try to relieve your burden a little bit. Now, this is one way to do it. So make sure you take a note of that. It will be emailed to you a week ahead. You'll submit your answers through the proper place in Blackboard assignments. Lecture contact information. You have my email. You have the office number, Harris Parker 234. If you ever are through here in the Harris Parker building and want to visit, if I'm here, just come by and I'll be glad to chat with you. But the best way to communicate with me is by email. I'm constantly checking my email. It drives my wife crazy, but she understands that I have to check my email to be able to know and to see what my students have to say or have to ask. So that's the quickest way that I will reply. Phone number is also listed here in case you make a phone call. But again, email is the best and quickest way to communicate with me. I'm excited about this class. My wife and I, on December 17th of this year, will be completing our 30th year of marriage. We love it. It's been a great ride for us thus far. We have 2 sons. Our oldest son is preaching in Skullbone, Tennessee, which is north of Jackson, actually in Bradford, the Bradford community, if you're familiar at all with that area of Tennessee. He just started his work out there with the Pleasant View Church. He and his wife, Sarah, they are expecting their first child due on Thanksgiving Day, by the way. So be expecting an email from me at some point during the 8 weeks about, we have a baby boy. They are expecting a son, and it's our first grandson. We're excited about that. Our youngest son, Jonathan, who is the field director for Governor Kay Ivey, the governor of our state of Alabama, works for her political campaign. He is engaged to Bree Pedigo. They met when they were interns in Washington, D.C. They both worked in various private outfits in Washington. I say outfits, it's actually political action groups. And they fell in love. They were engaged. They're planning to get married in May of next year, May 25th. And we're really excited about the prospect of Bree becoming a member of our family. Marriage is a great thing, and I hope that you experience as much happiness as possible when you decide to make that most important decision. Very, very important. And so we hope to help you along those lines in this class. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll be glad to respond to you very, very quickly and help you with any concerns that you might have. Good luck in this class, and hope to see you on campus very soon.